make sure that peace deal is enduring, that it lasts, that it's a deal that goes down as a historic deal, that nobody breaches, and we'll work with you to make sure that that absolutely happens.
That is out there shared by tens of millions of people. Let me be clear. I don't support street violence. I don't support thuggery in any way at all.
So if you take a legal activity and you effectively criminalise it, you hand it literally into the hands of the bad guys.
In a stunning display of parliamentary disruption, Labour MPs shouted down Nigel Farage as he attempted to question Keir Starmer about Britain's involvement in Ukraine. The reaction wasn't just disrespectful, it revealed a troubling pattern of silencing dissenting voices in our democracy. What does it say about our political establishment when legitimate questions about potential troop deployments and billions in funding are met with jeers rather than answers? This moment exposes the growing intolerance for anyone challenging the official narrative on Ukraine, and what we captured on video will leave you questioning who truly supports democratic values. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Imagine Parliament, the supposed heart of British democracy, where elected representatives debate the pressing issues of our time.
Artillery or drones, a lot of systems, armed vehicles, a lot of things, but anyway, the production in Europe now 3-4 times bigger.
TV station, there's no national newspaper, Belgium is not a nation, and maybe that's why you're happy to sign up to a higher European level.
In doing so, not just do the right thing, but maybe mend some fences between this government and the incoming.
Now imagine what happens when certain voices are deliberately drowned out, not through superior arguments, but through coordinated noise. That's exactly what we witnessed when Nigel Farage attempted to question Keir Starmer about Britain's commitments regarding Ukraine. The scene unfolded with uncomfortable predictability. Farage, representing millions of British voters, simply rose to his feet to ask legitimate questions about our nation's potential military involvement. Questions that deserve clear answers. Questions that any responsible government should be prepared to address transparently. But what happened instead? A calculated wall of jeers and interruptions from Labour MPs that made it nearly impossible for him to even complete his inquiries. This wasn't just rudeness, it was democracy being strangled in real time. When an elected MP can't even finish asking questions about matters as serious as potential military deployment, we've crossed into dangerous territory. What are they so afraid of? Is the notion of scrutinising our Ukraine policy now considered some sort of diplomatic heresy? Let's be crystal clear about what happened here. Farage's questions weren't inflammatory rhetoric. They were straightforward policy inquiries that millions of British citizens want answered. How many British troops might be deployed to Ukraine? Is America's funding arrangement with Zelensky's government sufficient as a security guarantee? These aren't unreasonable questions. They're precisely the kind of scrutiny our parliamentary system was designed to facilitate.
I have to say this, as I said yesterday, you're talking about a peacekeeping force. We have to make a deal first. Right now, we don't have a deal. We have Russia, we have Ukraine.
There were people around him that thought it was the right thing that I came.
I thought you were giving all your time to Clacton now as its newest MP.
Well, I'm allowed to come to America on a trip like this, particularly in these circumstances. Those communities have little faith or trust or belief that government can make their lives better. Indeed, what I found knocking on doors were people saying, we want to work.
The reaction from Labour benches speaks volumes about the current state of our political discourse. Rather than engaging with the substance of Farage's questions, they opted for the political equivalent of putting fingers in their ears and shouting, la la la. It's a troubling pattern we're seeing more frequently, where certain topics, particularly around Ukraine policy, trigger immediate shutdown rather than reasoned debate. What's particularly striking is that Farage began by acknowledging areas of agreement, noting Brexit freedoms being used effectively, and even praising positive words about Trump and America. He then simply questioned whether Zelensky's mineral agreement with America constituted a sufficient security guarantee without British troops. This reasonable question, one that numerous defence analysts have raised, somehow warranted a chorus of outrage that prevented proper parliamentary exchange. This isn't just discourteous behaviour, it represents a fundamental breakdown in how our democracy is supposed to function. Parliament exists precisely so elected representatives can scrutinise government policy, especially on matters as consequential as potential military commitments.
He indicated that we'll play our full part in making sure that any deal, if there is one, and I hope there is, and I think this is a historic moment to make sure it's a lasting deal, and we're about to have a discussion about
Sound organisation on the ground, right across Wales, and it's from that we can support our candidate.
But give us in a few years' time the kind of government we need to turn round the decline in this country. Don't just think Elon or Nick Candy are going to save us.
When that process is short-circuited through organised disruption, we're witnessing the erosion of democratic norms in real time. The most telling aspect? Labour MPs offered no justification for their behaviour, no attempt to explain why Farage's questions were somehow improper or out of bounds. The shouting itself became the mechanism, the tool used to prevent deeper questioning about our Ukraine policy. It's as if certain perspectives are now deemed unworthy of even being articulated, let alone addressed. There's a stark irony here that shouldn't escape our attention. The same political establishment that constantly lectures about defending democratic values abroad seems remarkably comfortable suppressing democratic debate at home. They speak of standing up for Ukraine's democracy while simultaneously undermining the essential functions of our own. This parliamentary episode reveals a troubling precedent. Questioning the establishment position on Ukraine is now treated as somehow improper or disloyal. It creates an atmosphere where MPs might think twice before raising legitimate concerns about military commitments or diplomatic strategies, for fear of being shouted down or branded as Russian sympathisers. When did it become acceptable to silence elected representatives simply because their questions make you uncomfortable?
Law and order, folks, on our streets is breaking down. This Prime Minister hasn't got an earthly clue how to deal with it.
The days of this project are over. We want to live in nation states, not false artificial creations.
When did parliamentary scrutiny become optional rather than essential? And most importantly, what does this reveal about how our government approaches transparency around issues of war and peace? The hypocrisy on display in Parliament speaks volumes about the state of our democracy. Labour MPs, including Starmer himself, repeatedly champion democratic values in their public statements. Yet when faced with legitimate questioning from Farage during the Ukraine debate, their commitment to these principles evaporated instantly. This contradiction cuts to the heart of a growing problem in British politics. The public deserves transparency on matters that could fundamentally reshape our foreign policy, military commitments, and national budget. Instead, they received a theatrical display of outrage designed to shut down inquiry.
You must do what we tell you to do. Yes, I mean, Rishi Sunak's plans were completely mad, that in 10 years' time a 25-year-old could buy a smoke and a 24-year-old couldn't.
Tories have failed us completely, betrayed us completely. Labour are utterly hopeless. You all know the country's going down with tubes.
What's particularly troubling is how this pattern extends beyond a single parliamentary exchange. The establishment position on Ukraine has become almost sacred. Questioning it immediately brands one as somehow disloyal or improper. This creates a dangerous precedent where MPs feel entitled to silence elected representatives who dare challenge prevailing narratives. Remember this moment when politicians next pontificate about defending democracy. Their actions in Parliament reveal their true commitment to those values.